Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Emmy the Cat Lady, and you join me, well, if you've played Fallout New Vegas, you'll know exactly where I am. This is Dinky the dinosaur. So we're here at Novac today for the next Wasteland Biographies. So I wanted to talk about Jeannie May Crawford, who is kind of the leader, self-appointed mayor of this little town, which is obviously built into, sort of an old motel and, sort of rest stops, because there's a kind of garage here where there was obviously like fuel and coolant and all that kind of stuff, and then there's some little houses dotted about as well. So obviously called Novac because of the sign. So Jeannie May Crawford, she's kind of in charge, and she rents out the rooms and the little kind of cabins, I guess you could call them, in this place. So yeah, there's quite a few people around. So there's a bunch of people that live down there. There's a little rest spot for the caravans. It's quite well established, and obviously if you've been here, you know that there's even a sniper up in the mouth of the dinosaur to keep an eye on any threats coming from outside. So Jeannie May Crawford, usually during the day, you can find her in here at the front desk in the kind of lobby. There she is. So it's quite a fun little settlement, it's quite memorable with the big dinosaur and everything. And if you've played in Fallout New Vegas, you're going to have come here at some point, pretty much, certainly. So she rents out the motel rooms to people, and she is generally quite friendly and welcoming, and she's quite proud of her little town, as long as you're not a troublemaker. I don't know why she just slapped herself in the head there, and that was interesting. Anyway, but if you're less complimentary about Novac, she does get quite angry. Is she slapping bugs off her or something? She does get quite angry, so I'll drop a wee quick save here. Yeah, it can be quite funny, so let's have a chat. Hello.
Well, welcome to you. You look tired from the road. Why don't you relax a spell? Let this fine town take care of you.
So you can say, what is this place?
We're in a little desert oasis, name of Novac. This is the Dino Delight Motel, and it's mine.
Okay. So, yep, if you speak to her and you say, what's the quickest way out of this dump?
You can jump out the window for all I care, mister. You got no right to come in here and start criticizing our town. Folks work hard to keep it clean and safe. We do the best we can, but still, there's always some of you finicky types that there's just no pleasing.
Yeah, so she turns very quickly if you say anything that's not, praise or complimentary. She's very quick to be like, well, to hell with you, you can go and jump out the window. You can apologise.
Well, it is. Not everybody appreciates it like they oughta.
Yeah, so you can rent a room, you can ask her what's going on, you can ask about Benny, all that kind of stuff. So what's been going on in town lately?
Well, let's see. Dusty McBride's been losing some Brahmin, but that's probably the heat more than anything. Honestly, it's been real quiet. Ranger Andy's still hurt, but we got these two gentlemen snipers watching the road day and night, keeping the trash out of Novac. They've been a blessing. Oh, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I got to thinking about making a good impression and plain forgot to tell you my name. I'm Jeannie May. I take care of folks here at the motel, long as they aren't troublemakers.
Yep, so she's like, yeah, everything's fine. I look after people as long as they don't cause any troubles. What is there of interest?
Well, there's Dinky, the town mascot. He's a sight. You probably already saw him when you came in, but you can go up inside, too. Up the road a ways to the west, there's Repcon. That's the old rocket factory. There's been some sinister characters out there lately, so you may want to stay clear. Other than that, nothing to do but take it easy and enjoy good company.
Anything else?
Well, up north a ways, you'll see a big tower. That's Helios 1. Used to be a power plant in its day. And there's a town just east of here called Nelson. Used to be such a quaint little place until those slavers took it over. But we got our wonderful snipers keeping an eye in that direction, and so far, the slavers have left us alone.
Keep that very much in mind, what she's just said, that she's got these wonderful snipers that are keeping the slavers away from town. Keep that in mind. But yeah, tell me more about Repcon.
I just know what I've heard. There's supposed to be some ghouls that went in a while back. Ever so often, there'll be a commotion from that direction. Explosions and such. Watch out for strangers.
Okay. So, yeah, she comes across super friendly and, you know, she's like, I'd like to keep this town happy and safe. But she is very quick to get offended if you say anything critical, if you say anything about the town, like what's the fastest way to get out of this dump. She does turn very, very quickly on you, and she mentions the ghouls up at Repcon. So Jeannie May is what a lot of Scottish people would probably refer to as a nippy sweetie. So she puts on a front of being nice and friendly and welcoming, but she becomes really quite rude and irritable at the slightest hint of criticism or the slightest hint of something negative directed towards her. And she doesn't like city folk that don't appreciate her frontier town. But Jeannie May here has a very dark secret which you can uncover in the quest One for My Baby, which is Boone's recruitment quest, so probably something that a lot you're familiar with. So let's... Oh, hi guys. So we'll have to have a chat with Boone, but we need to wait because he is the night shift. So, yeah, let's do 12 hours. So we're going to wait until night time so that we can go and speak to Craig Boone about what happened to his wife. Yep, there's Manny Vargas. So he's the daytime sniper. So we just head up inside the dinosaur. So yeah, this place serves as the shop, obviously, but you've got these stairs and out this little door. And there he is. Hello.
God damn it. Don't sneak up on me like that.
Sorry.
What do you want?
I'm just looking around.
There's nothing up here. I think you better leave. I don't have friends here.
Yeah, I'm not from here.
No. No, you're not, are you? Maybe you shouldn't go. Not just yet.
Okay, why is that?
I need someone I can trust. You're a stranger. That's a start.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
I want you to find something out for me. I don't know if there's anything to find, but I need someone to try. My wife was taken from our home by Legion slavers one night while I was on watch. They knew when to come and what route to take, and they only took Carla. Someone set it up. I don't know who.
Okay, so you're trying to track down your wife?
My wife's dead. I want the son of a bitch who sold her.
Okay, so yeah, you can ask him how he knows, but that's a topic for another day. But what do you want me to do if I find the person?
Bring him out in front of the nest here while I'm on duty. I work nights. I'll give you my NCR beret to put on. It'll be our signal so I know you're standing with him. And I'll take care of the rest. I need to do this myself.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Good. I'll make it worth your while. And one more thing. We shouldn't speak again. Not until it's over. No one in town knows that I know what happened to my wife. Best they never know. Or the Legion will be after me next.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, Boone had his wife Carla, and Manny Vargas, who was his friend and spotter when he was in the NCR army, had his wife Carla here, and she was taken by Legion slavers while he was on duty, and he knows that she's dead, which is something that we'll get into when we talk about Boone himself. But he wants to find out who organised things so that they could get her away without him realising until she was already gone. So you can ask around, you can talk to a few people about town, like some of the other residents. If you talk to Novac Noonan, he does kind of point you in the direction of the Dino Delight lobby kind of reception area. But you can also ask Jeannie May Crawford about Carla. I don't know if she's still in there actually at this time. But you can ask her about Carla. Yep, there she is. Hello.
I hope you're finding everything to your liking.
So what's wrong with Boone?
Nothing that wouldn't be wrong with any man who loses a wife, I suppose. Poor dear. I know he thinks she was kidnapped, but I'm not so sure she didn't just run off on her own. You could tell she was thinking about it ever since they arrived.
So that's her view, is that Boone's wrong, she wasn't kidnapped. She thinks she just up and left him and ran off of her own accord. So we can ask specifically about Carla. What can you tell me about Boone's wife?
How should I put it? I guess you could say she was kinda like a cactus flower. Real pretty to look at, but there was just no getting close to her. She never did take to living here. She liked the big lights and fast living of New Vegas. I got the feeling she was trying to get Boone to leave with her, but I guess she got tired of waiting.
Yep, so she basically has said, yeah, she was prickly, you know, she was like a cactus flower, pretty, but didn't want to get too close to her. And that she didn't like staying in Novac and she wanted to go to the big lights of the city of New Vegas. And you can kind of read between the lines that she's basically not happy that Carla also wasn't happy here. And she's just like, yeah, she must have got tired of waiting for Boone to be willing
Watch
to leave.
out for strangers.
Which isn't really the case. However, we're going to wait for her to leave so that I don't get spotted doing this and get into trouble. So you can steal the key off her, or you can open this safe. So there's a wee bit of money in here which we're going to take anyway, and then we've got the bill of sale. So this is very interesting reading. Let's see. So, bill of sale. We, the representatives of the Consul Officiorum, have this day bargained and purchased from one Jeannie May Crawford of the township of Novac the exclusive rights to ownership and sale of the slave Carla Boone for the sum of 1,000 caps, and those... So, you know, we can see that there. So she's sold Carla to the Legion for 1,000 caps, but it gets worse. And those of her stupid thing. And those of her unborn child for the sum of 500 bottle caps, the receipt whereof is hereby acknowledged. We warrant the slave and her young to be sound, healthy, and slaves for life. We covenant with the said Jeannie May Crawford that we have full power to bargain and sell said slave and her offspring. Payment of an additional 500 bottle caps will be due, pending successful maturation of the fetus, the claim to which shall be guaranteed by the possession of this document, and then all the Latin nonsense signing it off, because it's all, the way the Legion operate is all very formal and everything's kind of recorded and there's checks and balances, which is kind of an interesting thing. So we can see here that, you know, a couple of things. One, that she took money in order for Carla to be kidnapped, but it's worse because Carla was pregnant, she was expecting, and it meant that, assuming that the pregnancy survived to full term and she safely delivered said baby, that Jeannie May would make another 500 caps because they're getting 2 slaves for the hassle of only kidnapping 1. So it all seems to be just because Carla didn't seem to really like living in this little town, which is interesting. So actually, hi.
I hope you're...
So come with me.
Oh.
So, don't get run over by the Brahmin. Right, get out of the way, silly cow. We'll get there eventually. Yeah, she's supposed to actually walk at like double speed, but this Brahmin is literally getting in the way so much. We'll just stand over here and wait for her. So, yeah, she has done something really, really awful. It's pretty brutal, and there we go. So she comes over here. I'm going to go and quickly put on Boone's beret, and then there she goes. So, yep, confirm this is the culprit, and she's got the key for her safe. So, yeah, it's really, really horrible, and, you know, because Boone, when you speak to him, he is very grumpy, and he's very kind of just angry at the world, but you can understand that his wife was kidnapped, and, I mean, presumably if Jeannie May Crawford and the Legion knew that Carla was pregnant, then Boone definitely knew as well. So, you know, the fact that this is what he's had to deal with, and he wants to know the truth. Why wouldn't he want to know the truth? It kind of makes sense. So we're going to have a quick chat with him.
That's it then?
Yep.
How did you know?
So, because you can say that, but he's not happy if you pick these answers, that it was a hunch or you just wanted him to kill her. So he's kind of satisfied. He's not happy, because why would he be happy about this? But he's satisfied that he got revenge when you bring him the proof. So I found the bill of sale.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised. It'd be like them to keep paperwork.
Yep.
Here. This is all I can give. I think our dealings are done here.
Okay. So, yeah, and then at this point...
know. Maybe I'll... Yeah.
At this point you can recruit him as a companion, and that's all well and good. So, yeah, it's quite brutal, and actually, I mean, you maybe heard the noise there, that you do gain karma for completing the quest properly in this way. But if you do decide to kill Jeannie May Crawford yourself for whatever reason, then the game's karma system proves that she's considered an evil person, because you gain karma. You get positive karma if you kill Jeannie May Crawford, although you do lose reputation with Novac. So that tells us that, you know, she's definitely considered to be an evil character rather than a good character, when she's selling pregnant women into slavery with the Legion. I think that's fairly justified. There also, if you do kill her yourself, you do also lock yourself out of having Boone as a companion, because you can't then complete One for My Baby properly. But she was also intended, so you can talk to her a bit about the ghouls at RepCon. She was supposed to offer you an alternative path to complete Come Fly With Me, where you just go in and exterminate all of the ghouls, and you get an under the table deal with her. But while the voice lines and things were recorded, that aspect of the quest was cut from the game eventually. So yeah, it's Jeannie May Crawford, and that is, she comes across as, you know, all sweet and welcoming, like, welcome to my little humble little town, everything's great here, you can just relax. But once you do a bit of investigation for Boone, you discover that she has just sold somebody into slavery because she didn't like them, even knowing that, you know, Carla was pregnant. And she did it just to make a bit of a profit. So, oh, that blood pool is very pixelated. That is very strange. Okay. So yeah, Jeannie May Crawford, definitely a piece of work. You know, it's the kind of person that it's really easy to dislike when they're all friendly to your face, but they do sneaky things, and, you know, they'll turn on you the moment that you say something that they don't like or do something that they don't particularly like. Yeah, so if you do this quest for Boone and you do it this way, I think she absolutely deserves what she gets here. And you can't really blame Boone for being unhappy. And I say, if you do question him about how he knows that his wife is definitely dead, he's quite cagey about it, but the thing is that basically he found her and he killed her so that she didn't have to suffer being a slave, because on his own there was no way he was going to be able to get into the camp and take her away. because there was just too many legionaries about and he was on his own, so that was his choice then, was to prevent her from suffering by killing her, because that was the only way that he could prevent her from having to deal with being a slave. And then there's obviously the additional sting in the tail that he also then lost his unborn child because he had to kill his wife. It's quite a sad story. So, you know, when you're dealing with Boone and he's all grouchy and he doesn't want to talk and he doesn't want to be friends, you can kind of understand why when you know the details of his history, because he's obviously had some pretty horrible things happen, all for the sake of a couple of thousand caps, and because Jeannie May just didn't like Carla. It's pretty harsh. So that's the story of Jeannie May Crawford, and you can definitely make sure she gets her just desserts after what she did. And you know, it's proof that sometimes people lie. People can put up a friendly front and say, yeah, you know, everything's nice, we're all friends here, and then find that they're going to turn on you with the slightest provocation sometimes. So something to bear in mind, I think. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you found this interesting. I say, I know Jeannie May Crawford is a character that most players of Fallout New Vegas will end up meeting at some stage if they're not speedrunning the game and running straight to Vegas and all the rest of it. But it is quite interesting to kind of dig into the backstory of these characters, because it's quite easy to miss potentially if you don't know about Boone, and you don't know that he's going to be a potential companion and things like that. But stumbling across this and then doing a bit of investigation, and those are the kind of quests that I do enjoy, is when you're having to do a bit of investigation, because there is a lot more to it that you can do. You can talk to a few of the residents dotted about Novac about what happened, to get more information, and talking to Nobark Noonan himself is an interesting one, because he's clearly a bit, you know, suffering from some kind of mental health disorder, and he's obviously a wee bit on the crazy side, but you know, he's still a potential source of details about certain things. So he's a character that I think I might do pretty soon, actually, because I think he's quite interesting. Yeah, we shall see. But if you do have any thoughts, if there's a specific character in the games that you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to kind of take requests for things like that and look into things. So coming later this week, we're going to finish up the medicine part of the Wasteland Survival Guide. And then on Saturday, we're going to talk about the birds. So we're going to talk about the ravens from this game, the crows in Fallout 4, and the ragulls as well. I'm going to kind of put them all together, because I think there's going to be quite an interesting comparison to be made about all those things. So hopefully you're looking forward to that, and I'll see you later. Bye.